Before Procreate, before digital brushes and layers, this is where it started for me, and I'm sure some of you. A tiny stylus, a tiny screen, and a whole lot of patience. Digital art is still a relatively new medium in the grand scheme of things. So now, I'm going to take you back to days old, long forgotten era, where all the current masters originate from 2009. This was the era of YouTube Let's Plays, Tumblr and DeviantArt were the main artistic platforms, the iPhone 3GS was released, Minecraft entered early development, advice animals everywhere. The Nintendo 3 DSi, had just launched, and with it, I was introduced to Art Academy, a digital art game way ahead of its time. Let's work on lesson 1, which is the lesson I remember most fondly. No cluttered UI, no complicated menus, just a simple, straightforward interface. This game didn't look flashy, but that's because it was serious about teaching you art. And of course, we're greeted by Vince. If you played this game back in the day, you know Vince. He's our digital art mentor, our Bob Ross of the DS era. He's calm, encouraging, and just firm enough to make you feel like you should really be trying harder. He welcomes us and we jump straight into lesson 1. The humble apple, a classic art subject. If you've taken any sort of art class, chances are you've drawn at least an apple once. Wait, did I say that right? I don't think I did, but you get the idea. First of all, Vince tells us we should start by lightly drawing the shape. Now let's be real, this is where the DS shows its true limitations. The screen was not built for precision. It has about 10 pixels of accuracy, and I'm here trying to make smooth, elegant curves with a stylus the size of a toothpick. The result? A lumpy, organic-looking apple. Let's call it artistic interpretation. But even with its limitations, Art Academy was already teaching something crucial, the importance of structure. Unlike MS Paint, where you had to freehand everything with a pixel brush, this game introduced actual digital art techniques. Layering, shading, colour mixing, and for 2009, that was crazy. Now, I'm sure most of you have played this on an actual DS, and you know how small the screen is, you know how small the stylus is. I am not currently playing it on original hardware. I am playing it on an emulator, which is completely legal, might I say. So it's not replicating the exact experience of when I played this as a kid, but it's getting pretty close. On to shading. This is where Vince gets very serious. He tells us to observe where the light hits the apple and where the shadows fall. And for a beginner artist, this was a really big deal. This is a big lesson to learn and something that you will carry with you through all of your artistic journey. I start adding soft shadows per Vince, trying my best to blend with the limited tools available. Now, I say limited, that's limited for the time. Now, this is for the time, I think. How do I explain this? Looking back on it now with the tools we have from Procreate, this is incredibly limited. But at the time, this was so cool. Like, it was so cool and didn't feel restrictive at all. But currently, with my knowledge of where digital art has gone and how much I've used it, this feels very basic. But you have to remember, at the time, this was crazy. As a little 7-year-old girl, I was loving life drawing this apple. This is why Art Academy was so special. It wasn't just a gimmick, it was teaching real art fundamentals. It made you think about form, depth, light, shadow. Even now, blending my shading with the stylus, I can't help but appreciate how much the game actually got right. Like, it is a game, but it's also a teaching moment, and something that, like I already said, carried with me through all of my artistic career. Of course, it wouldn't be the true Art Academy experience without some struggles. First, of course, the screen size. It's tiny. I have about a few inches of workspace, and every stroke feels like an Olympic level act of precision. Secondhand cramps. If you remember playing the DS for long periods, you know the pain. The way you had to grip the stylus and hunch over your screen for hours, there was no ergonomic design involved. As a kid, that didn't bother me. As an adult, it kind of does. I'm getting old. My bones are creaking. And third, the lack of an undo button. There's no control Z, there's no undo like in Procreate. If you mess up, that's it. You have to use an eraser and work around it. In a way, this is also great for learning. You had to commit to the choices that you made. In reality, it made you very cautious about every single stroke, and that's okay. it's okay to be cautious about every stroke. On a screen as small as this, you couldn't really get the precision that you wanted, but that was good as well. It teaches you to step back from your work and look at it from afar, not take it for all of the nitty-gritty details and take it for what it is. It's absolutely wild to think about how far digital art tools have come. Today, with iPads, pressure-sensitive pens, layers upon layers of non-destructive editing, AI-assisted brushes, which I don't really care for, but that you can't complain that the technology hasn't progressed so far. And yet, here I am, struggling to shade an apple on a 240p screen, along with all of my training and experience as an artist. But at the end of the day, I love Art Academy. I am so nostalgic for it. I hope you guys are as well. It means so much to me. I have such fond memories of it. I'm so excited to move into the tree lesson. I remember that one so fondly. I remember there was a mode in it where you could have reference pictures and draw from that. And that was so fun too. And it really shows how far I've come as a digital artist as well. You know, as a 7-year-old girl playing these games, it's not hard to see the connections of like, oh, of course that girl was going to go on to be a digital artist. She's playing Art Academy, a digital art teaching tool. And when I'm in college, fighting my corner for my digital art, this is real art, this takes skill. Games like this prove that. Like, I've been doing this for years. And if you've played Art Academy, you know how close it can be to your heart. And for me, this was such a nostalgic experience playing this game again. Lesson 1 is starting to come to an end. We are adding our background into our image. Now, I decided to have a little bit of fun here and play around with the tools that we're given. We're just on the pencil phase now. Just wait until we get to the painting. That might be in the next video. We are currently just doing a little background, but I really wanted to play with the brushes you have. It's not a traditional brush. It doesn't have, what's it called? You know, like when you hold your stylus, your Procreate stylus sideways, it like flattens it's like the side of a pencil. With this, that's a whole other thing. You can't just do that. There's 2 different brushes, a pinpoint and a wide. And I was kind of just experimenting with that, getting the feel for it. Now, I remember this game so well, so it felt so natural to me, but I had so much fun experimenting with the eraser and trying to get the exact look I wanted. Now, it doesn't look like Vince's, but it doesn't have to. It's mine, and I love it. And I really hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you want to see more of Art Academy and playing through the levels, do let me know. I'd be so happy to do it. I'd love to live stream it as well. So do let me know in the comments if you enjoy this, and let me know if you want to keep watching. Taking a step back as much as you can from a DS screen, looking at the final piece. It's not my best work. Would Vince be proud? Probably. Does it spark that same nostalgic joy? Absolutely. It's incredible how much Art Academy still holds up. The technology is a little bit outdated, but the lessons are timeless. Understanding light, form and shading, that's the foundation of all art. Whether you're working on DS or a high-end tablet, you need to know those fundamentals. And despite the struggles and the limitations of the time, this game holds up so well. It's funny looking back at this game because in a way it shaped a whole generation of digital artists. For a lot of us, this was our first introduction to digital painting without even knowing it. Before Procreate, before fancy tablets, this was it. If you enjoyed this little nostalgic trip, maybe we'll take a look at some other digital art software, not just Art Academy. There are a lot of forgotten gems out there, and I'd love to dive into them. If you think you can tell when I'm reading off script and when I'm not, no you can't. Okay, that's it for now. If you liked the video, leave a like, maybe subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. If you want to keep up with me, check out the description below for links to my shop and my social medias. Bye!